When it comes to meat, the USDA seal is required to prove that the meat has been inspected by a federal agency. But that doesn't stop manufacturers from injecting carbon monoxide gas into the packaging. Yep, that same gas that comes out of your car's exhaust pipe gets pumped into the packaging of your beef, pork, and fish. This is an industry-wide practice that makes the meat redder, giving it that freshly cut look, even after it's spoiled. Once meat becomes exposed to air, it gradually turns brown or gray within just a few days. But carbon monoxide-treated prepackaged meats will keep its crimson luster for weeks. About 70% of all meats purchased at your local grocer is pumped full of the colorless, odorless gas. In 2002, the Food and Drug Administration gave it a generally recognized as safe status, and in 2004, they went ahead and just approved it as a primary packaging method. Meat industry experts are backing this practice because they claim that consumers won't buy meat that is brown, even if it's well within its shelf life. Despite the obvious health risk of long-term ingestion of carbon monoxide gas, companies continue this process to keep the cost of meat production low. Conscious consumers know that wheat bread that is high in fiber is a healthier choice than grabbing a bag of white bread. But some breads labeled as wheat are actually nothing more than white bread with food coloring added. Bread manufacturers know that more and more customers are moving towards wheat bread for the health benefits associated with it. Bread companies may claim to include whole wheat or whole grains, and its rich dark color may make you think it's the real deal. But take a gander at the food label and look for additives like fake caramel coloring. The dye is used to darken the bread and get rid of that bleached flour look. By law, the labels on food have to list the ingredients by weight, but manufacturers can still put whole grain on the packaging, even if it's just a pinch of whole wheat flour or a dash of grains. Food dyes are there as a replacement for actual healthy ingredients because they are cheaper than the real thing. Next time you pour a bowl of Rice Krispies for the kids, you should wonder, how much arsenic are they eating right now? Well, according to recent studies, it's a lot. Rice is rich in vitamins, fiber, and protein, but it's also the only common food item with high levels of arsenic. Although arsenic is a naturally occurring element found in the environment, many companies add lab-created or inorganic arsenic to pesticides, and rice easily absorbs it at high levels. Regular exposure to small amounts of arsenic can increase the risk of bladder, lung, and skin cancer, as well as type 2 diabetes. Children are at high risk because since they weigh less, they're exposed to more arsenic per pound. Often, one serving of rice for a child is way over the weekly recommended arsenic limits. Rice cereal, rice cakes, and even Rice Krispie treats all include significant levels of inorganic arsenic that can be harmful to the body. Talk about a serial killer. Coca-Cola has been paying fitness and nutrition experts to suggest its soda as a sensible, healthy snack. The company wants consumers to fall in love with the cocoa. They want people to associate its sugary soft drinks with healthy habits by paying bloggers and dietitians to write articles that suggest Coca-Cola as a smart snack idea. In February, these paid experts made dozens of online posts for American Heart Month, each one including a can of Coke. Coca-Cola spokesman Ben Scheidler said, quote, "We have a network of dietitians that we work with, and every big brand works with bloggers or has paid talent." One dietitian who wrote a sponsored article for Coke said that she would suggest a can of Coke even if she wasn't being paid, although she doesn't drink Coca-Cola herself. Maraschino cherries are those bright red cherries you see garnishing cocktails or used as a topping for your favorite milkshake. But if you think those cherries on your ice cream sundae are all natural, think again. The process for making these factory fruits basically turns the cherry into candy. Once the cherries are plump and ready for harvest, they are then soaked in a briny solution of calcium chloride and sulfur dioxide to strip it of all its natural color and flavoring. They are then pitted and soaked in a high fructose sweetener. The final step in the process is to add artificial coloring to give them their overly brilliant red color. The dye they use is red number 40, which has been linked to allergic reactions and may contain cancer-causing contaminants. Ah, the infamous Frankfurter, aka the hot dog. Hot dogs are primarily made of a blend of meat trimmings. That's the leftover meat tissue of beef, chicken, and pork that is mechanically separated from the bone. The trimmings are ground together with food starch, corn syrup, and cereal fillers. The fillers help to plump up the weight of the dogs. Once these, ingredients are emulsified, the goopy mess is siphoned through a series of tubes into their casing. Casings labeled as traditional or natural are made from the small intestines of sheep. To make the hot dog last longer in the package, they then cure the wieners with nitrites. These preservatives have been linked to carcinogens that are directly involved with causing cancer. There's just something about gooey meat being churned around, piped out through a tube and slathered with corn syrup that keeps people coming back for more. Many folks might not be aware that the red substance coloring their food, fabric, or cosmetics could be extracted from the crushed bodies of insects. Ketchups, yogurts, chewing gum, or your favorite pink-colored frappuccino are all dyed with cochineal extract. Cochineal bugs are soft-bodied, flat, oval-shaped scale insects native to South America and Mexico. The insects are collected from cactus plants and placed into bags. Then they are killed by immersion in boiling hot water, dried in ovens, and finally ground up into a fine powder. It takes about 70,000 insects to make 1 pound of cochineal powder. The extract is added to hundreds of everyday food items and can be labeled as E120 or carmine. Companies then market cochineal extract as a natural alternative to artificial dyes. If you consider smushed up beetle bodies as natural, now this puts a whole new meaning on Beetlejuice. There's a process in manufacturing of additives for food called GRAS, or generally recognized as safe. In this process, the FDA lets food manufacturers do their own safety testing to decide independently whether ingredients are safe. Upon determining if the additive is GRAS or not, the company can voluntarily submit its findings to the FDA. Voluntarily. That means there are no industry-wide testing rules for new food additives. Companies have a significant degree of discretion over which ingredients they add without pre-market FDA approval, because they can make their own GRAS determinations. On the FDA's website, they list all of the food additives that companies have determined as GRAS since 1998. You should really check this out. There's some pretty wild stuff companies tried to use. One manufacturer tried to use hydrogen peroxide on onions. Another company wanted to add lycopene to meatless meat products. I'm guessing that's a veggie burger.